Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you? Happy Wednesday. Hope that you're doing well in your part of the world and that you and your family are safe. I'm doing very well. It's a beautiful day out where I live, and just really looking forward to spending the next hour or so with you and being able to keep on developing our data science skills and keep on developing our community. So really glad that you're here. Really glad that you're going to be a part of the discussion today. I'm already seeing some people filling in the chat, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. For those of you that are new, welcome. I'm still averaging about 1,500 new people on YouTube, so I'm sure there's some new people watching. We like to do what we do is our global roll call. Please go ahead and introduce yourself just by letting us know your city, state, province, country. And that's it. That's all you have to do. That way, you're part of the community. You've introduced yourself in a proper way, and it makes the chat more inclusive. So you're welcome to share that with us and just let us know where you're from. And then I also like to do an opening note to try to, kind of set a tone for the discussion. And then today we're going to be taking a look at some survey results that are being put out by NVIDIA. For a very specific industry. It looks like they have put out a survey results for the telecommunications industry. So I thought we'd take a look at that. It's some results that kind of caught my eye. So I thought we'd look and see if we find anything interesting. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Either way, it leads to more discussion and participation. So I hope that all of you will look forward to that. So, we'll see where the discussion takes us. That's part of the beauty of just kind of being part of the community here. Everybody has a different perspective, and that's a good thing, right? So again, if you're just joining us, please let us know your city, state, province, country. Just a really easy way to introduce yourself. So today I did want to have a little bit of an opening note, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm a little frustrated. This morning. So if you guys want a different type of business idea, if one of you out there, one of my listeners, one of my followers wants a business idea, I think I have one for you. Okay, so listen up carefully. Now, I'm also saying this because another part of the data science process is being able to recognize your own biases, right? That's a very important part of the scientific method. So you guys can tell me after I finish talking here if I'm just sharing my bias, or maybe you guys feel differently about it or whatnot. But you let me know. Okay, so here's the problem I'm up against that gets me really frustrated. So a couple of people have asked me, why don't I start a merch shop for my channel? I have enough subscribers to do that. I'm enabled. YouTube has enabled my account so I can put a shop at the bottom of each video or each stream, or I could put a shop like links inside like the videos. And overall, it's a good idea. I don't know if it's going to be like a big money maker, but I need to develop different sources of revenue, right? And also I just think it'd be fun to have like some fun data science shirts and things like that, right? So I've been working on that. I've been working on that in the background for really like the last 2-3 months. And I've come up with some like designs that I think are kind of cool. I've worn some of the shirts on stream, but maybe it's not always visible. And the thing is, guys, that I don't want to sell something to all of you unless it's a quality product, especially when it comes to clothes. I'm pretty particular about clothes because clothes has such a great range in the quality of it all, right? So there's maybe like 4 or 5 dominant shops out there that market to content creators like me. They'll tell you, oh, bring your designs, and we have easy integration with YouTube shops and this and that. So I've worked with a couple of them, and I have, before I even think about opening a shop for the rest of you, I always order samples from the companies. And I've ordered from 3 different companies so far. They're all junk, right? The material is too cheap. It doesn't stand up to washing because I also wash them. The printing is very cheap on them. So just really been a big disappointment. So this past week, I've been working with another company, and I'm not going to mention their names because I think they're all junk. And I was so frustrated because, first of all, it took a week and a half to get me the samples. I got a couple samples. I literally just got them this morning. Um, and as soon as I saw the package in my mailbox, I knew they were going to be junk. And I knew they were going to be junk because they used the same packaging from another company that I had ordered from. So in other words, it's two companies completely separate from each other, but they're using the same like cheap fast fashion factory somewhere overseas, right? And I'm pretty sure I know where the factory is. So basically, as soon as I got them, I thought this is going to be trash because of the packaging. I already knew it was the same factory. Second of all, this is exactly how they came. No plastic bag, no wrapping, no protector whatsoever. This is literally how they were inside of the mailer package, right? Another thing too is I always order a premium, and then I always order like their standard t-shirt. For some reason, the standard ones weren't available. So I just ordered the premiums. And to me, these are not really a premium product, right? You can tell by the material, by the feel of it. So here's something that I haven't really shared a lot, but I've always had tech jobs basically since post college. But during college, I would basically do like whatever jobs are available, right? Like I had I didn't have any pride about it. I just needed to be employed, right? I just needed to have a job, right? So I actually worked at a clothing manufacturer for a while. I helped them with their inventory, with their quality control. They worked with a lot of customers who were very, very strict on quality control. So I would do like random checks, based on statistics. Like if we were shipping 100 boxes with, I don't know, 100 boxes would be like 1,500 shirts or 1,500 jackets. I would have to decide how many of those I would have to check for quality control and all this other stuff. So the lady there, I remember her name was Irina. She taught me about clothes. Because another thing I would do is I would also get on the phone and I would have to source all these parts. Like, like these tags come from specific companies. And I would have to call up these companies and say, hey, we're going to be doing 5,000 t-shirts next month. Can you quote me a price for 5,000 tags for those t-shirts, and so on and so forth, right? So she taught me how to be critical about the stitching and like the quality of the material. And I personally think that this is junk, right? So Leo says, show what is written. All right. Yeah, I mean, I risk somebody stealing my designs, right? But check this one out. I guess I can put it over. All right, I mean, come on, we've all been there, right? Don't tell me you haven't heard this, right? So I thought that would be a pretty cool design. Here's another one. And this is totally cheap. I mean, you can tell the printing, right? The printing isn't very good. The quality of the dye and the red is not very good. I mean, and this is a cheap red, right? I mean, I love red, and I'm very particular about my shades of red. This is more of like a crimson than a red. So it's not, the dye is very cheap for this being their premium offering. And this is the other one. So I have a better than your AI boyfriend and a better than your AI girlfriend, so that, you can wear it depending on your gender preferences, right? And then I was intending to offer them in different colors and things like that, right? But these are junk. I would never want to sell these to you guys. I mean, I probably won't even wear these, to be honest with you. I'll probably just donate them to charity. So these are the things that I probably, these are the things that I'm sharing with you, because maybe these are just my biases, but I would never want to sell you guys something like this. I mean, this is done in a fast fashion factory, very cheap printing, terrible dye on the shirts. This probably won't stand up to washing, right? You can already see that this red is a little bit see-through. So after a couple of washings, this is not going to hold up, right? So that's my bias. Leo says it's a bit blurred. Yeah, I understand that, Leo, and I don't expect you guys to see like the same things that I do, but that's my bias, right? That I don't want to sell you guys something that's cheap. I know you guys work hard for your money. We all work hard for money. So I'm really disappointed in that because that's the 4th shop that I've tried, and they're just using the same factory, just under a different name or whatever, right? So really disappointed in that. I think that there's an opportunity here. So if one of you guys wants to come up with an opportunity for this, you know, if you can come up with a quality shirt product to sell, there would be creators like me that would want to use that. Why don't you reach someone that already does it on their channel? This is coming from them, Leo. This is coming from people I've asked and from shops that have direct integration with YouTube, because not every shop has that. YouTube has like 4 or 5 shops, right? So I think other creators just don't care. You know, they just don't care, right? I mean, that's one of the unfortunate things about our world, right? Some people will do anything for money, right? So I don't want to do that to you guys. I'm very particular. If you're gonna buy something that has my name on it, or that you associate with my account, I want to make sure it's a positive experience, right? But unfortunately, this company is not it. It's just too junky. And like I said, that's the 4th company I've tried. So maybe it's me. Maybe it's my bias. But just wanted to share that with you guys because, it's a little bit frustrating. I just got these this morning, but as soon as I saw the bag, I just knew it was going to be junk. And plus, who sends a shirt without putting it in a bag first? You don't just they literally just take like the mailing envelope and put the shirts in there and send it. That's dumb. I mean, that is not a sign of a quality company, right? Yeah, so I think the other creators out there just don't care. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather not sell you something than, whatever revenue can come from it. You guys can just save your money instead. I'd much rather prefer that. All right, so again, if you're just joining us, please let me know your city, state, province, country, and I'll go from there. Casual Economist, wow, Casual Economist, you're first today. Welcome, our friend from Minneapolis. Glad you're here, my friend. First day in 2 weeks. I don't have a meeting at 10 a.m. What are you talking about? You do have a meeting at 10 a.m. It's this. How am I not an entry on your calendar yet? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in you, Casual Economist. Lakshmi, our good friend Lakshmi. Morning, Dennis and all. I hope everyone had a great Sunday stream. Missed this time as I was traveling. Ah, that's really nice of you. And Lakshmi, you know what? Some people, did indeed notice your absence on Sunday. And you know what, Lakshmi? I don't care what they said. I think you're cool. I don't care what they said. I still think you're cool. I just wanted to let you know that I did not join in. I said, no, Lakshmi is cool. But, the chat is the chat, Lakshmi. So I don't care what they said. I think you're cool. Osama, our good friend Osama from Satat. I think it's Satat. So hope you're doing well out there. Hello, sir. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Other than the disappointment in these cheap old T-shirts, yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you. I had a good walk yesterday after the stream. I'm gonna go walk again today after the stream. So yeah, it's gonna be a good day. Leo, our man in New York, says good morning, folks. Good morning, Leo. Hope you're doing well. Rex are also our man in New York. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you too, Rex. Hope both of you are doing well. Oh, how was the Astoria pool yesterday? You guys are headed to the public pool, so let us know how that went. Yassine, our good friend Yassine from Tangier, Morocco is back. We missed you, buddy. How you been? Glad to see that you're back. Hopefully everything is well on your end. But welcome. Harris, our good friend Harris says, hello, sir. How are you? I'm doing well, Harris. How are you? Hope you're doing well out there. Manoj from Bangalore. Good morning, Sir Dennis and everyone. Manoj from Hesaragata. Yeah, Hesaragata, Bangalore, India. Nice, welcome, Anoj. Hope you and your family are well. Sarvesh, our friend from Mumbai. Hey, Sarvesh, how are you? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Glad you're here. So Leo says, let us see, show it as written. Yeah, Leo, maybe I'll send out the designs later. I don't know. Maybe I'm just done with this whole t-shirt idea. Lulman, our good friend Lulman says, hey, good morning, Dennis. Hey, Lulman, how are you? Glad to see you're back. Denelson, our friend from Los Angeles. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Denelson. Good morning to you too. Hope you're well. And I'm so happy you're joining us, Denelson, because I know it's a little bit early for LA time. So thanks for that. Leo says, I like the design style. I like it too. I think some of the sayings are a little bit funny. It's like data science oriented, AI oriented. But I don't want to sell you guys stuff that's cheap like this. Just really disappointed in this. What if you try something else like hoodies, socks? Yeah, Leo, that has crossed my mind, but the t-shirts are always going to be your best-selling product, right? Because the hoodies, it's really hard to find a company that will sell a hoodie for anything less than like $55, right? So that's not going to be as a high selling item. So I don't mean that from like a revenue perspective, like I want more money. I mean that more just from this is what people are going to be receiving the most, right? So this is how I judge their quality. And if you can't make a good t-shirt, you're probably not going to make a good hoodie either, right? It's like I said, guys, I don't want to send something out with my name on it that's going to be cheap or trashy. So yeah, I just really disappointed, because like I said, this is my fourth company doing this. I mean, I have the other ones in my closet, but yeah, they're just not good. I mean, fast fashion overall is killing a lot of things in the clothing industry, right? Hi, I'm Anami from Kenya, Nairobi. Welcome, Anami. Anami, I think this is your first time, so I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining. We have a couple of viewers in Nairobi, or in Kenya rather. So glad you're here. Thanks for joining in. Marcin, our friend from Poland. How are you, Marcin? Good to see you again. Glad you're back. Joseph says, good morning, Dennis and everyone. Happy day 297 of the year. Is that what it is? Okay, cool. I like that. To Joseph's point, the end of the year is slowly coming up on us, guys. Slowly coming up on the end of the year. So, start making your year-end plans now, your New Year's plans, because it is definitely coming up soon. So thanks for that reminder there, Joseph. Leo says, I have some nice Linux hoodies and math ones. Yeah, there's some companies doing some good ones out there, But I guess, I don't know. I guess I'm just not plugged into them, or maybe they, I know some creators will like find a local company, work directly with them, and then they'll do the fulfillment and stuff on their own, right? They'll have like a storage space that has the stuff. So maybe that's the way to do it, I'll have to consider that. Maybe I can find somebody locally that can do a better quality job. But yeah, we'll see. So Anami says it's 6:20 p.m. here in Kenya. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I have done my best to pick the most convenient time worldwide, but I know that it's different times for everybody. So really appreciate all of you that do take the time to join. I know it's late for some of you, so thank you so much. Thanks for joining in, Anami. Really appreciate you. Yassine says everything is good, sir. Thank you. Missed the streams. Well, we missed you too, Yassine. You're a big part of the streams, a big consistent supporter. So glad to see that you're back. And I'm glad to hear that you missed the streams. To Joseph's point, it is day 297, and it's also day 94 for me, streaming every single day. So that's going to come to an end soon, in about another week here, next Tuesday. Yeah, next Tuesday is going to be when I complete 100 days. So if I'm being honest, it would be nice to have a little bit of a break during the week sometimes. My analytics also tell me that like Tuesday is my slowest day of the week. So maybe I'm gonna start mixing some things up, as far as the streams that I run, and give me an opportunity to miss you guys and for you guys to miss the streams too, right? So we'll see how different things are going to shake out. So to Yassine's point and to Joseph's point, the year is progressing, and we'll see what the new year and the new process brings. Leo says, yeah, Yassine, where have you been? I love that Leo is joking around and being a great host on YouTube. But obviously, Yassine, you don't know anybody an explanation. We're just messing around with you. People, life gets in the way sometimes, right? And that's totally okay. I appreciate the consistent support. I love the community that we're building here. But you know what? Sometimes life gets in the way, and that's totally okay, right? Leo says, what break? What do you mean? We'll see, Leo. We'll see. I'm still working out different things in my mind. There's still different pieces of content that I want to bring you guys. There's the holidays coming up here in the US. As I mentioned to you guys, I'm also going to go see my parents at the end of November. My dad asked me to come out for his birthday and for Thanksgiving out there, and obviously if your dad makes that request of you, you go, right? So I'm gonna spend some time out there with both of my parents, at their home in LA. And yeah, there's some things I'm still exploring for December that I want to bring you guys. And then in the new year, for those of you who don't know, there's a consumer electronics show that's coming up. That's going to be the first week of January, and if you're not aware of that, that's one. It's one of the world's largest trade shows across the board, and two, it's certainly the largest tech show. So there's all kinds of electronics and software and servers, and also obviously AI companies. So I have secured a media pass. They were nice enough to give me a media pass. So I'm going to be going out there and interviewing AI companies. So I'm going to be bringing you guys a whole different type of content. I'm going to be bringing you my best finds of the most promising AI companies that are out there. In addition to that, there's going to be a variety of keynotes. There's going to be a variety by Jensen Huang, who is the the CEO of NVIDIA. So obviously I'll be going to that. And there'll be one by Volvo talking about self-driving cars. Delta Airlines is going to be there giving a keynote. So it's going to be a whole different set of content, and I might still live stream from the facilities there. I kind of have to get a feeling for what the facilities are like. But yeah, so it's going to be a variety of different things coming up. So maybe a couple of changes to the stream schedule, but I'm still here. I'm still streaming, still interacting with all of you. So it'll just be, a couple different things. More info to come on that. More info to come as the year, gets closer. Because, I talk about these things now, but the reality is that the new year is really just a few weeks away. And like I said, that show is almost immediately after the new year. So yeah, it's going to be a interesting couple of months coming up. Khalif says, good evening, sir, everyone. I believe we are all well. I like that optimistic outlook. I believe we're well too, Khalif, and I believe that you're well. So thanks for being here. I'm glad you're joining us. So Yassine says, I don't even know. A project took the life out of me. I have a list of people I have to apologize to. No, Yassine, you don't know us any explanations. It's life is hard sometimes, right? So life gets in the way. No problems. And I mentioned this to you guys yesterday, right? I think yesterday or the day before, that I have people who send me DMs and they tell me like in an embarrassed way, like, I'm sorry I missed or what. Guys, like, you can come and go as you please, right? What I do not want is for somebody to not come back because they're too embarrassed or they're too shy or, oh, I miss so much. Don't worry about that. Just come back. It's cool, right? We're still friends. It's still a fun community. If you're still interested in data science, then it's still a good thing to attend, right? So don't worry about that, guys. Don't worry about that. You don't know an explanation to anybody, and you can come and go as you please. My note says, "We're not ready to miss you, Sir Dennis." And Leo says, "We're not." I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Look, we're gonna experiment, right? We're gonna try different things. Maybe I'll miss it too, and maybe I'll want to do every single day, right? That's also possible. Right? You never know. You never know. But at the same time, as they say, distance makes the heart grow fonder, right? So sometimes you have to, you know, sometimes I have to miss you guys too, and you have to miss me, right? So we'll see. We'll see, right? So it doesn't mean like there's going to be like an end to the channel or anything like that. It's just, we'll try a different schedule, a little bit different content. We're also one thing I should mention is that there will never be a break to the Sunday series, right? We're always going to be doing the Sunday tutorials, no matter what, because we're in the middle of a good series now. People have requested a series on neural networks. We're definitely going to do that. That'll be fun. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll see, right? Well, different things. Our daily cup of Dennis is like caffeine. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. Miriam Zawari? Miriam, I think you're new. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We always ask people let us know their city, state, province, country as a way to introduce themselves. So please let us know where you're from, okay? We all going to bring that to therapy now. Really? Is it that heavy of a change just if I decide to take Tuesdays off? Like, what if I just miss Tuesdays off? Like, you guys, like, seriously? That's going to put you guys in therapy? Come on, guys. I'm missing out on so much knowledge due to my college pressure and full-time job. 9 p.m. and gotta hop out soon to work on my literature review assignment. Oh man, that sounds like a tough schedule. Well, Lawman, we always appreciate people no matter, how little or how long they join. So thank you so much. Really appreciate the feedback and the questions you give. And I know that you also like attending on Sundays. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the time that you do give us. Lakshmi says, that sounds good, Sunday series. Yeah, Lakshmi, the Sunday series I think are always fun, right? I think that you guys get a lot out of them. I enjoy putting them together, right? So there'll never be a break in those, right? Even during the holiday periods, right? There won't be a break. So like, for example, like I mentioned to you guys, I'm going to be taking some time to go see my parents. So that's going to be a Monday to Friday trip for me to make sure that I'm still back in time in my little studio in my home to make sure like I can do the Sunday series, right? So even like during the holiday periods, I'll still like, break it up so that I can still kind of, keep the Sunday going, right? Or like the trade show, the CES trade show, that's going to be like a Sunday to Thursday event. So there is one Sunday where maybe the course will be a little bit shorter because I do have to do some things for the show. But, just I'm going to do my best to not have a break in that series. Okay? And also Christmas is kind of a different holiday because I know not everybody in the world celebrates Christmas. So I don't know. We'll see. Leo says we're going to discuss that and let you know. How does that sound? Okay, yeah. You guys discuss it and you guys let me know how much I need to stream. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like both Khalif and Harris are done with this little fun discussion. They want to get to work, guys. So today I do want to talk about a article in NVIDIA. NVIDIA has put out an interesting survey. So let me just very quickly try to address Khalif and Harris's questions. And Leo, I appreciate the hosting that you're doing there. I think Leo is accurate. But Khalif quickly asked, sir, would you advise someone new to the field to spend so much time learning the math concepts? No, Khalif, I wouldn't. And for those of you that have seen my content already know this, it's much better for you to look at methodology and the process of data science than the math. To me, the math should be like 2% of everything that you're studying, like very, very little, because the reality is that you're going to be using libraries across the board, right? Libraries are just how the math is done. So anybody putting an overemphasis on the math they're just wrong. They're just wrong on how to go about learning data science. And if you follow my Instagram, I call people out on there because it's misguided, and they're not understanding how data science is done in the real world. So no, Khalif, I think that should be like 2% of your understanding, very little of it. And honestly, most of it is just kind of understanding, how you come up with your metrics on a confusion matrix or something like that, right? Like that's the 2%. Harris says, sir, I want to make my final year project at college in data science. Can you please suggest some ideas related to this? So I'm not going to pick on Harris here because this is a very, very common question that I get. Lots of people asking for project ideas and things like that, right? Here's the problem I have with that question, guys. Creativity is a fairly important part of working in data science, right? You're going to walk into most scenarios, into businesses that have no idea what to do with data science. They just know that they need it in some way. So I always get concerned when I get people asking me that, because it means that you still need to develop your creativity skills, right? Because to me, that's the equivalent of a surgeon saying, hey, I'm a trained surgeon. I just got out of school. What surgery should I do? And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, haven't you been doing like surgeries? Like, haven't you been learning this? Like, that's been part of your training, right? Like how are you graduating and like not have your own ideas, right? Like something has gone wrong or something doesn't feel right, you know what I mean? So again, not trying to pick on anybody because it is a common question, but I mean, it doesn't help me to just give you an answer because then I'm not helping you develop your skills. You should be looking at the world around you and trying to find different data, different surveys, different studies, different public sentiments, and developing ideas from that, right? Or look at your own hobbies and your own interests. What are some of the data around it? What are some of the algorithms you can apply to that, right? Like that should be coming naturally to you if some sort of final project or project development is on your radar, on your current learning path. Like, how has this not crossed your mind before? You know what I mean? Like, in a way, it's like a little bit concerning. Like along the way, you should have said, oh, yeah, like I kind of learned this and that applies to my interest in car racing or whatever, right? So, like these connections should have been made already. That's why I get so concerned when I hear about this, right? And that's not necessarily a fault on the person that's asking me. Maybe it's a fault on how schools are structuring their curriculum, right? Like I'm open to that being the reason. Not a good reason, but it could be a reason, right? So yeah, Harris, I mean, I'll stop there with this topic, but super concerning when I hear when I get the question, and I get it, frequently enough. But yeah, okay. So if you're joining us late, you're welcome to introduce yourself, city, state, province, country. We always invite people to do that. But otherwise, I want to take a look at this this survey that was put out by NVIDIA. So let me switch over to my classroom view. So I found this earlier this week, and I posted it in the Discord. And let's take a look. I only took a very cursory look at it. But again, as I've told you guys in the past, have an opinion, right? You should be reading stuff like this. Have an opinion, know where the vendors, the big AI players out there stand, and say, yeah, this makes sense, or no, this is terrible, and this is why, right? Totally okay for you to have those types of opinions. It's healthy too, right? It also helps establish you as an expert, because you're going to be walking into companies that have no idea what they're doing. But you're going to be the new data scientist, so they're going to look to you, right? So let's take a look at this. So this is from NVIDIA specifically for the telecommunications industry. And obviously, you know, there's a little bit of a business intro. And then there's a couple of numbers that caught my eye as soon as this page here. So this is how they see, or how their respondents are using AI. 10% are not using it at all. 48% are in the process of doing it. And 41 have actually implemented something. And over here, they're saying that 56% of the respondents agreed that AI is important to their company's success. And they're claiming this to come from 2023. Another thing that caught my eye is the paragraph right here. 56% responded that it's strongly agreed that it's important to future success. So that's this number here. But they're saying that it's higher among the decision-making management respondents. And the 61% is a 14-point boost over the 42% result from the 2002 survey. And actually, no, that's a mistake. I said that incorrectly. This has a 14% boost over the previous year's survey. So what do you guys think? Anything surprising in here? This is the time for the audience participation. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. But is anybody surprised by any of these four numbers? I'm personally kind of curious about the assessing and piloting numbers, but you guys can tell me what you think. What do you guys think about these? Lallman says not at all. You're not at all surprised? Is that what you mean? Anybody else want to give their view? You can also just choose to agree with somebody or whatever, right? And if you need me to zoom anything, you know, let me know. I can always try to make it bigger. But what do you guys think? Nobody else wants to give their opinion? Leo says not surprised also. Okay. Why? Do you guys want to provide a rationale? Here's what I'm looking at. The 48% of the assessing and piloting, it seems a little bit vague, right? What is a piloting stage? What is an assessing stage? And it also makes me wonder how many of those will actually result in a project. Because if you remember, we've also seen other surveys that say that just because you piloted something doesn't mean you actually get to deployment, right? When we saw the, what was it, the Intel infographic from last week, it said that there was still some high percentage that never actually make it to production, right? Okay, so Khalif agrees with Lalman and Leo. Lalman says, yes, I found a lot of papers on predictive analytics using ML implemented on Telecom. Maybe they can effectively implement ML due to their huge volume of data. Sure. But you know, Lalman, you're bringing up another interesting point, though. This is not an ML paper. This is an AI paper, right? Technically speaking, there are differences between ML and AI. Do their respondents draw those same lines? Maybe, maybe not. It also depends on how the researchers themselves worded the question, right? Because sometimes the question, just the way it's worded, may have included ML and AI, right? But that's not necessarily carried over into the results. But Lalman, it's great if you have some background in telecommunications. Would love to hear more of your views on this. Danielson says, when they say implementing, does that include small projects they have their employees' tools or in their own intranet? Yeah, that's a good question, Danielson, right? Are they doing it in that way? Or are they working with a vendor, right? Are they working with a consulting, an outside consultant, an internal consultant? Lots of questions there, right? On what it actually means for assessing and piloting, right? Leo says, and I fear that, to be honest, fear of companies failing to realize how game-changing this technology is based on the lack of the ability to implement. Yep. What kind of a professional could break that barrier? Data scientists or developers? That is a really, really good question, Leo. You know, Leo, that's a really good question. And I gotta be honest with you, it's not always just tech people. I have found, so you have to work in conjunction with management people, period. And I'm giving you guys my own my stuff from my own personal playbook here, guys. Okay. I have a little bit of a rating system for executives, for the business executives that I work with, that I have contact with, and it's binary. And the biggest compliment that I can give to an executive is I say that person gets data, like they get it. And that's my binary system. An executive you're working with either gets data or they don't. That's it, right? So, Leo, it's not just tech people. I think that in order to break those types of thoughts, it's a pretty good data scientist working in conjunction with an executive who gets data. And by the way, I should have clarified, when I'm talking about executive, I'm talking about like director and managing director level people, right? So in other words, people that can help you with the budget, with the vendors, with other executives, right? So that's how I worked successfully in the past, right? I've aligned myself with data executives that get it. And there's some that do, and there's plenty that don't. And that's okay, right? Because the ones that don't present an opportunity, right? But yeah, it's not always tech people, Leo. So I love where your thinking is going, but realize that you kind of have to work in conjunction with somebody else. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I have like my own little ratings or how I think about executives and who you can work with and who, you know, still has room for improvement, as they say. But yeah, but I'm giving you guys personal stuff there. Geez. But yeah, that you have to work with somebody else, Leo. It's not just going to be you or just tech people. Good question. So Yassine says, I think the results of the survey are hard to interpret without an idea of the nature of companies. Companies in the technology field will more likely come across AI. Yeah, but Yassine, don't underestimate how complex telecom companies are. There's some super like advanced, very tech-oriented telecom companies out there, right? Okay, so Yassine says I missed the yeah, okay. Yeah, but yeah, telecom companies are super advanced, right? Um, telecom industries overall are super interesting. Um, I, if you guys ever want an interesting discussion, you should talk to somebody who's been in the telecom industry for a very long time. Like since the 70s or the 80s or the 90s. Like the mid 90s maximum, right? Like mid 90s or before, right? Like they've been at it for a long time. And I'm not going to mention any names. I'm just sharing some of some of the wisdom I've learned along the way. Okay. The people who the telecom industry overall, and maybe just here in the US, I know it's different in other countries, right? But the telecom industry overall has gone through a lot of changes in that same time period I'm telling you about, right? Somebody who's been around since the 80s and the 90s. They've gone through a lot of regulation, deregulation changes, a lot of companies have come and gone, so on and so forth. So, super interesting industry. And the people that are still around today, if you kind of want to know like a dirty secret about the telecom industry, is that a lot of people that are still around today, like those veterans of the telecom industry, they've just been really good at avoiding jail, right? Like that's like the honest truth. If you look at a lot of like telecom people, because the industry hasn't always been like the most customer friendly industry. Like there's some shady people who have a history in telecom. Like there's really no other way to say that, right? So the people who are still around today, they love it. They're very passionate about it, and they've been very good at avoiding jail. Like that's like I don't like if you may not understand that if you haven't spent time in that industry, but the people who have, like, they probably agree with that, right? Because they know what I'm talking about. And so how have they done that, right? So I'll give you a quick example. I was given an assignment one time, and it was like a consulting assignment, and I read the specs. I understood what they wanted, and I basically went back to them and I said, hey, this project sounds interesting, but are you asking me to break the law here? Are you asking me to do something illegal? And they looked at me and they said, yeah, good question. And they said no. And when I asked that, they had this ready to go. They showed me a letter. I'm not going to even mention the state, but they showed me a letter by the Attorney General of a very large state here in the U.S. The Attorney General directly wrote back to their inquiry and said, "No, what you're doing is not currently illegal, but we're going to start working on this. Thank you for contacting us." Okay? So that's how a lot of these telecom guys work, where they will come up with like some ridiculous project idea, and they'll use their lawyers to figure out, yes, this is not currently illegal. That doesn't make it a good practice, right? It doesn't make it a good project, but it's just currently not illegal. Like that's their barrier, right? And they will actively write to the attorney generals of the states and say, hey, we're thinking of doing this and releasing this as a product. Are you okay with this? And those attorney generals will write back. And that's the letter they showed me, where the attorney they basically help the like the legal system in the US fill the holes. So these telecom guys, they will find those holes and they will actively exploit them, knowing that that it's going to take the attorney general like 3 years to pass a law, through their own legislature and stuff like that. Like, that's how a lot of these telecom people work. Like, they will actively do things that they know are borderline shady, but they have a letter from the attorney general saying that it's okay for now. Like, it's crazy. It's a crazy industry. And by the way, I didn't end up taking that contract because, I like sleeping well at night. But yeah, I mean, that's the telecom industry. They use a lot of technology. Trust me on that. Casual Economist says facts. Those people are super shady. Yeah. It's funny, Casual Economist, but again, people get it or they don't get it. But anybody who has experience in telecom that I tell that to, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're 100% right. Absolutely shady, right?" But yeah, yeah, guys, like I said, if you want an interesting conversation, find yourself somebody who's been around in telecom, and like they're basically people that are really good at avoiding jail. Like, they're good with tech and they're good at avoiding jail. Like that's your average telecom worker. That reminded me of the commit tax fraud memes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but like I said, Lawman, the difference with these guys is that they know that what they're doing is illegal, and they'll just say, okay, well, look, we'll just do this for the next 3 years because it's going to take the attorney general 3 years to do that. We have a letter covering our butts because the attorney general literally just told us that it's not illegal, and in the next 3 years we'll find something else to move on after that. Like, they totally accept that they're exploiting something and that they'll just find something else to exploit later on. Like, they just go from hole to hole to hole, and they're just counting on the slow legal system in the US that it takes to plug those holes. But yeah, so yeah, definitely don't underestimate the technology that's being used in the telecom industry, guys. There, NVIDIA is a smart company, right? There's reasons why they chose telecom for this survey, or as a target audience that they go after, right? So yeah. So let's move on to the next set of numbers. All right. So this is a good one. This is the interest and expectations from AI. Let me put that a little more towards the center. So in case you can't see it, over on the left side, AI is important to my company's future success. AI will be a source of competitive advantage for my company. Well, isn't that kind of like the same question? That's kind of weird, right? That's kind of the same question. At least, at the very least, they're correlated, right? So what do you guys think here? So on the y-axis, it's agree and strongly agree. And on the x-axis, it's a 2 years, right? So light green is 2022, dark green is 2023. What do you guys think? Kind of a related question, right? Yeah, so feel free to focus on just one of these, because to me they're the same question. But what do you guys think? There's something jumping out at me here in this chart. Anybody have any thoughts? Denelson says, does that say 53 and 38? 53 and 39, Denelson, yeah. So 53 for 2023, 39 for 2022. Abhishek says hi. Hey, Abhishek, welcome. Abhishek, we always ask people, let us know their city, state, province. So let us know where you're from, okay? Sam, so good to see you. Our friend Sam from Mexico. Sam, hope you're doing well out there in Mexico. Glad to see you, my friend. Glad to see you back. So Sam, today we're discussing a survey results from NVIDIA on the telecom industry. So feel free to let us know your thoughts on the two charts that are up. Earlier I said that I think this chart over here has something interesting in it. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Sam says, thank you, I'm good and the best for you. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, things are going well. It's a beautiful day out. Get to spend time with all of you. And then I'm going to go outside and do some walking later. We'll see. Lawman says, what about the remaining 9%? Well, so Lawman, just so that we're interpreting this correctly, right? So this is saying that the respondents were asked on a 7-point scale. Agree and strongly agree were the top two on the scale, and this is the percentage of people that chose the top two, right? So in other words, 53% of the respondents marked agree or strongly agree to the question of AI will be a source of competitive advantage for my company. Yassine says, I think it's a relatively big jump, but not enough info to tell. Yeah, Yassine, I appreciate your view on that. But here's the thing, right? I'm not necessarily looking at the trend. Here's what's bothering me about this, guys. So let me say this again, okay? 53% of the respondents marked either agree or strongly agree, which are the top two choices on the scale, or AI will be a source of competitive advantage for my company. Like that jumped out at me. Like, why? Because how can it be 53%? Not everybody can win in AI, right? Because it's not, because this is their expectation. But are 53% of companies going to create competitive advantages from AI within the same industry? No, right? There's got to be winners and losers, right? So to me, this indicates that there are unrealistic expectations of what AI can do for people, right? Because this is basically saying that more than half of the industry is saying AI is going to change the world. And excuse me, not just change the world, but change my company and the competitive status of my company, right? Because they're saying it's a competitive advantage. Well, 53% of companies can't have a competitive advantage in the same industry, right? It's going to be like 10%. Maybe even less, right? Or it could be like a Pareto principle, like an 80-20 thing, right? 20% of the companies will be the most competitive, right? Or the most innovative, right? Leo says, well, it's more like a sentiment analysis. Yeah, and I think that's tied to the next comment. But Casual Economist says, telecom guys, I would expect over 50%. Yeah, okay, sure. So maybe there is a little bit of a sentiment at play here. Maybe there's a little bit of the culture of this industry at play here. Yeah, okay, sure. But it's probably not realistic, right? So us as a data science team, right? So why do we care about this, right? Because us as a data science team, to me, this says, hey, we need to be careful in talking to our stakeholders, to our executives, because optimism might be a little bit too ambitious, right? If we apply these results to our own company, our own client, whatever, then our job is to maybe pump the brakes a little and say, hey, I know we're all excited about AI, but here's what we can promise and here's what we can't expect, right? So that's why that caught my eye, because 53% are not going to have a competitive advantage, right? So this is us being data scientists, but this is us data scientists wearing our business hats, right? This is the business side of data science. And understanding that it can't be 53%. You guys with me on that? Because I'm kind of asking you to make a couple of additional connections here in terms of how my eye sees these results. But yeah, I mean, the telecom industry obviously is a little bit a little bit too optimistic, right? A telecom guy probably made your cheap shirts. Yeah, probably, right? A telecom guy working in some fast fashion factory that has a contract with the county jail out in some city. Yeah, that's hilarious. You know, and I like casual economists' use of what do they call that? What is it called? Flashback humor, right? So for those of you joining late, Casual Economist is talking about my earlier rant on these t-shirts that I enjoy designing, but they're so cheaply made. I can't find somebody who can make these. So yeah, some jail telecom guy probably made this cheapo shirt. So that's funny. I appreciate the flashback humor there, but yeah. So again, coming back to the survey, that's what's catching my eye, right? So keep an eye out for things like that, guys, right? That's the business side of you being a data scientist, right? And again, coming back to Khalif's question, right? That's the stuff, Khalif, that those people that are emphasizing the math and you gotta know, that's the stuff they'll never get. And that's why they'll never be, you know, good data scientists, right? Because data science is not about the math, it's about helping people, right? And being able to interpret results like this. But again, I hope you guys are making those connections. All right, so let's look at their investments. Okay, so this is where they are putting their money. What do you guys think about this chart? Again, the light green is 2022, the green is 2023. And I appreciate those of you that kind of look at that trend, which is good, but also just think about the overall placement of these funds, right? Excuse me, sorry. Is machine learning likely to lead to competitive advantages, or is it more about Gen AI? Or what do you think about their metaverse spending? Those are not small numbers for metaverse spending. Right? What do you guys think? Or maybe there's something else catching your eye, I don't know. %48 are investing in optimizing customer experiences with AI. Anybody want to interpret that? What do you guys think? Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, casual economist. Yeah, this number should be concerning to all of us with a phone, right? Enhancing customer experiences. That's automated agents, right? The automated phone agents. So casual economist is exactly right. It means robocalls and robo agents, so both inbound and outbound, right? I mean, that to me kind of raises that question, right? Like, are you doing that because of your own company savings or because customers are demanding that? Like, are they moving forward with AI and these robo agents, robo calls without any attention to the user experience side of it, right? Just because you deploy it doesn't mean users are going to like it, right? So isn't that element kind of at play here? Anybody else feel that? Right? What do you guys think? But casual economist is exactly right. It means that they're just working on robo agents. I'm not excited about that. Are you? Dendelson says the metaverse and digital twin part looks about right because there are architectural firms that use digital twins for buildings. Yep. So Dendelson, you're not surprised that there's been an increase, right? Because that's one of the ones that has an increase, right? Deep learning and digital twins has an increase, and that's it, right? So Dendelson, you're saying that's not surprising. Lallman says chatbot integration, personalized customer service, maybe. Yeah, but is it ever personalized though, Lallman? Like, is anybody excited about that? Like, look, let's take a quick survey. Give me a 1 in the chat if you're excited about more robocalls and more robo agents, right? So in other words, more robocalls hitting you, and then when you call into place, it'll be more robo agents or AI agents, right? Are you excited about that? Give me a 1 in the chat or a 0 if you're not excited about it. I'm giving a 0 because I'm not excited about that, right? But maybe I'm wrong. So give me a 1 in the chat if you're excited, a 0 if you're not excited. Okay? And also, Lawman, you'd also have to ask this, right? There's a difference between personalized customer service and an AI agent, right? You can do personalization without any data science, right? I mean, personalization is more about being able to link people's accounts and activities to each other during that phone call. Yeah, maybe you'd need some natural language generation, but that's it, right? So I don't know. I don't know if you need a lot for personalization. But what do you guys think? Anybody else want to give their thoughts on this? I think we've gotten some good feedback so far. But is anybody excited about more robo or more AI agents in telecom? What do you guys think about that? Nobody else has a view on that? You guys are ready for the next chart? All right, let's move on to the next chart then. See what else catches our eye. Okay, well, here we go. So, oh wow, look at that drop. That's an interesting drop. So, there's been a drop in customer experiences. There's been an increase in reduced costs. And remember, these are their expectations, right? These are their expectations. Improve employee productivity. Okay, that's interesting. Improve network operations. It's pretty flat. And meet revenue targets. Wow. Oh, wait, but these are not years. Oh, no, I made a mistake. What were your organization's goals in using you in AI? How has AI improved your business operations to date? Oh, that makes it even more interesting. That makes it even more interesting. Okay, so Leo says, it looks like I need to start sending letters again. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Yassine, wow, Yassine is okay with the robo agents. Wow, for me, if efficient, I accept. Okay, Yassine. Okay. Okay. Casual Economist says, I don't need an AI robocall mimicking my grandfather to sign me up for a new service. Yeah. But to them, that's an enhanced customer experience, right? Now let's look at this chart though. So guys, I'm not a fan of how NVIDIA did this. They used the same colors that they were using for their time series, but this is actually completely different. So let's focus on this first one, enhanced customer experiences, right? Which is basically what we were just talking about. The light green is saying that 48% of these organizations had that as a goal. That was their goal for AI. 48% wanted to enhance customer experiences. Okay? How has AI improved your business operation? So this is saying that only 35% said that it actually improved their operations for the customer experiences. So their expectations were up here, but their reality actually fell, what is that, 13 points lower than what they thought it would. That's interesting, right? So you could say that this fell below their projected expectations, right? So it looks like reduced costs met what they were going for. Employee productivity, that's interesting. They thought it was going to be 28%, and it turned out to be 33%. That's interesting. Or the last one here, meeting revenue targets, was 27%, but it was actually only 17% was the actual. Right? What do you guys think? Lots to unpack in this chart. Leo says, have you tried calling Experian? They have a great customer experience with their agents. Terrific. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody has those stories, right? Of places that are just awful. You know what I think is the worst, guys? You know, there's some companies out there that you can't reach anybody at all. Like they've even shut down their support, their support by email. Like, have you guys ever tried reaching somebody like to help you with an Instagram issue? Like there is no support for Instagram. Like none. Like if you write to support@instagram.com, they will. It's like a form letter telling you that they don't take questions. Like there's companies out there that are like that they don't even publish a phone number anymore or an email. I mean, to me, that's even the worst, right? But yeah, Leo, I mean, there's terrible experiences out there, right? But AI is going to save us. AI is going to give us an enhanced experience, right? But this is saying that it actually didn't meet their expectations, right? Yes, that's experience case, only letters. Yeah. You know, another thing I've found to be really effective, I don't think it would help you with Experian, but there have been situations where I haven't been able to get support or help from somebody. And it's one of the reasons why I like American Express, because American Express does really good with chargebacks for the customer. So I charge everything to my American Express. And if I ever have trouble getting support, I just start a chargeback. And then, trust me, if you do that, a chargeback with American Express, somebody at that company that you did the chargeback for, they're going to call you. I guarantee you of that. So that's a little shortcut that I use. I was waiting for a refund on an airline ticket, and it had been like a month. And I read the reviews, and that airline was notorious for taking like 2-3 months. And I thought, that's not going to happen. So I started an Amex chargeback. And I'm honest about it. I tell Amex I haven't been able to reach anybody at their support. And you do that, and somebody's going to call you. I guarantee you. But maybe with Experian, you're not really spending money with them, right? So it's a little bit harder. But that's one of the reasons I really like American Express, because they when you do a chargeback with American Express, companies notice. None of them want to lose their American Express merchant account. So. Yassine says, I'm concerned with the metrics used by the companies for these answers. For example, the customer satisfaction. Yeah, absolutely, Yassine. That's definitely something that can easily be overstated, right? How do they measure that? If, for example, they use the number of clients, it can be related to something else other than the satisfaction. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, the root problem that you're describing there, Yassine, is that this is all self-reported information, right? This is them sending out a survey to a bunch of their executive clients and saying, hey, can you fill out this survey for us? NVIDIA, am running a study. Can you fill this out for us? So it's all self-reported, right? And like I said, sometimes it comes down to how they worded the question and how that person understood the wording of the question, right? That plays into it also. So yeah, Yassine, I totally agree, right? There's different ways that the respondents themselves are defining customer satisfaction. And when they give a number, I mean, does NVIDIA go back and ask them to prove that number? No, they just accept it, right? And they move on. So yeah. All right, let's see what else is in this report. What was the impact of AI? That's, look at this. This is terrible. This is not a great visualization. Are you telling me the folks in NVIDIA couldn't come up with a better visualization than that? Come on, NVIDIA. You're better than this. What are your challenges to achieving your AI goals? Okay. Too few data scientists went from 36% to 34%. Inability to quantify ROI dropped. Poor technology infrastructure dropped. But that's not a huge drop, right? That's just variance. Same for the first one. I mean, 2%, that's variance, right? Lack of budget dropped, which is good, right? Shows an increase in investment. Virtually all of these measures dropped except for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity actually went up from 17 to 20%. Arguably, that's variance, but who knows, right? What do you guys think? I think the first one, right? Too few data scientists should be interesting to all of us, right? It's the second most cited. No, over here, it's the most cited reason, right? If we look at the 2023 numbers, right? Just so you're clear on this, the right-hand column is the most recent survey, right? That was the top response for 2023. Too few data scientists. Anybody excited by that? What do you guys think? Yassine says, well, I'm excited. Yeah. All of us should be excited by that, right? That's a great number. That's a good sign. Right? I mean, we should all be excited by that. Now, I think that it might also indicate other problems, right? Because there's plenty of people out there looking for data science positions, right? So does that indicate a problem with the candidates? A problem with hiring processes, right? Anami says, I'm excited. Denelson says, gives me optimism there'll be more DS opportunities. Yes, for all of those who are looking for DS jobs, says Lakshmi. Yeah, right. This is a very positive sign, right? And this is one industry, guys. One industry. This is just telecom, right? So I think that's a really positive sign. You know, 36 to 34%, that's to me, that's variance, right? 2% on 36%, that's variance. So maybe next year this number will be higher, right? Lawman says just a slight issue. I'm not concerned, Lawman. That's variance. 2% on 36%, that's variance, right? Like I said, next year could be higher. Next year could be back to 36. Next year it could be 40, right? Yassine says, I also like the fact that executives are more supportive. Yeah, Yassine, absolutely. Absolutely, right? The 11% to 4% drop, definitely encouraging, right? That means you're getting a lot of support at the top, which is good, right? Lawman says regarding the need for... Yeah, I get it, Lawman. But again, I'm not concerned about the 2% drop. That's variance, right? Life is not a straight line. That's 2% on 36 is a small change. So I think there's reasons to be optimistic, and there's reasons to think that maybe this could still go up, right? But yeah, I mean, we should all be excited about this 34%. Like I said, you know, to me, you know, as a hiring manager and as a data executive myself, you know, I do think like, well, why is it so high? Is it a candidate problem? Is it a hiring process problem? I think there's problems on both sides, right? But 34% say there's too few data scientists. Okay, there's things to explore there, but overall, that's a positive sign. Everybody in this chat should have posted that they're happy about that, right? So yeah, I think that's good for all of us. So good. So let's keep on going. How is your budget going to change for AI infrastructure? So most of the respondents are going to be increasing it. 30% are going to be staying the same, and 4% are going to be decreasing it. Okay. Here's a good one. 42% will invest in generative AI, including LLMs, in 2024. So this is forward-looking, right? That's still a survey result, but that's a projected number of 42% will invest in Gen AI, including LLMs, in 2024. That's great, right? Assuming that number holds, right? Because just because you projected it doesn't mean you actually execute it. That's great, right? More optimism for why you should be increasing your AI skills, right? Anami says, when it comes to candidate problems, what do you think might be the limitation of the candidates? Anami, that's a great question. That's a great question. I could do a whole video on that. I could do a whole video series on that. But just off the top of my head, I would say that there is issues around real world experience or real world projects, at least creativity, right? You know, again, not mentioning any names, not picking on anybody, but if you're asking some random guy on the internet for project ideas, that's a problem, right? um I think that the way you comport yourself and the way you present yourself in email and in written communications and spoken communications is super important. um I get some horrendous emails and direct messages. Like, I get emails and messages that if I was a hiring manager, I am 100% never, ever, ever replying to you, right? Because it shows poor writing, poor emotional intelligence, poor quality in how you're communicating. So, like I said, write a whole series on this. But how you present yourself, how you conduct yourself, the the level of self-study that you do as a data scientist, super important. Super important, right? So yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna stop there because otherwise I'm gonna talk all day about this. But yeah, I mean, um, it's very important to be professional in data science, especially when you're seeking a job, especially when you're reaching out to hiring managers or asking somebody for help or, you know, anything like that. And like I said, I ask people to introduce themselves because I want to keep things professional, right? It's a good way to practice that. Leo says, sometimes I see data science asking for the same level of creativity entrepreneurs, for example. Yeah, Leo. I can totally see why you would say that and why you would see that. Because remember, guys, when I'm talking about creativity here, okay? You're walking into a company that hears about data science and we hear about this and we think it's going to be cool. We just don't know how. So yeah, Leo, they're kind of looking for you to be like this creative entrepreneur and say, "Hey, we think we can do this," and they want to kind of be wowed a little bit, right? So yeah, I can totally see why that's your assessment, Leo. Leo says you really need to break the ground if you want to make it, not offering more of the same. Yeah, absolutely, Leo. Absolutely. Now, I will say though, that there are some machine learning tasks that you can introduce to a company that aren't groundbreaking, but they are saving money or they're saving time, right? Money is only one measure of how you can help help justify your data science model. That's only one, right? There's other measures that you can use. So yeah, I mean, most of them are expecting to be wowed, but the reality is that, there are still some tasks you can do that help a lot on the back end. So don't sell short what you can do with machine learning. It's all about how you also present your results, right? And that's more of a business effort than it is a data science effort. Aniket, I think it's your first time, so welcome. We always ask people to introduce themselves. Please let us know where you're from. City, state, province, country. We always ask that to keep the chat professional, and that also in turn helps with your career. Okay. Yeah, but good observations and by Leo and great question, Anami. Like I said, Anami, if you want to send me a message or something afterwards, but I could talk for hours on that. But yeah, some of you guys send me some horrific emails and messages. I am never replying to you in a hiring situation. I reply because that's kind of like my job now. But like in hiring situations and like the hiring managers that I know, they're never replying to some of the stuff you guys send me. Like your probability of success is 0% in data science. So be careful with that, guys. All right. Yes, let's keep going. What is this? What is your company investing in today? There's the customer experience again. I think we've beaten that one to death. 42% are okay. That's the same number as before, though, right? That's where they're getting this number, this 42%. So 42% are investing in Gen AI, including LLMs. Okay, so we already looked at that. Okay, here's an interesting one: network predictive maintenance. We've had this conversation, guys, and Leo, this goes to your previous comment, right? Remember how we've talked about like mining companies and like construction companies? They're interested in the same thing, predictive maintenance. That's a huge field in data science. Now, to your point, Leo, that's not groundbreaking, but you can definitely save companies money by doing that, right? And it looks like some of those companies are catching on to that because look, they're increasing that investment, right? And I've shared with you guys that one of my very, very first data science job offers, I didn't take them up on it, was doing exactly that for a gold mining company. Predictive maintenance is huge for data science for a lot of these companies. I mean, you know, in this scenario, some of these telcos have massive, massive server rooms, right? Like not hundreds, but thousands of servers, right? So if you can predict even like when 3% of their servers are going to go down, that's a big number, right? And you can't always just replace a server one day to the next. You don't just go down to Best Buy and like replace a server, right? So like I can totally see why they're increasing their spending on that. I mean, if you guys are looking for a field to specialize in, predictive maintenance is a pretty good one to choose. Lots of industries need that, right? I mean, this is focusing specifically on network, but mining companies need it, construction companies need it, manufacturing companies need it, right? So it's a pleasant surprise to see that they're increasing spending there. And that's one of those things, Leo, where you're not breaking new ground, but you can absolutely say, hey, my team's algorithm predicted that, and we saved you this downtime that you would have had because that equipment would have failed and you would have had to have waited for parts. And so those 2 months or whatever are worth $80,000 to the company. So I want my team to be credited with those savings because we did that. Our algorithm did that. That's a super powerful position for a data science team to be in. So I hear you, Leo. I definitely don't disagree. You need to have an entrepreneur's mindset. They will expect that from you in a lot of cases. But there's also stuff like this where you can just come in, do the work, but still be able to point back and say, our team should be credited with that money because we did that. Leo says, love it. Yeah. Again, guys, if you guys are looking to kind of narrow down your specialties, you could do a lot worse than specializing in predictive maintenance. Trust me, tons of companies look for that. All right. My God, NVIDIA, you're killing me with these tables. Like, their visualization specialists must use like Microsoft Word out or something. Like, can somebody please teach the people at NVIDIA how to use Tableau or something? My goodness. What are you doing? Factors impacting AI investment decisions. Okay. What factors impact AI investment decisions? Economic uncertainty, infrastructure upgrades, market differentiation, change in priority of data science. Okay. Leo says, even to do something like that, you really need to be creative. Yeah, you do, Leo. It's a different type of creativity, maybe not the entrepreneur's mindset, But yes, absolutely requires creativity. Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, that's why I do kind of get concerned with those upcoming grads who need those ideas, because it's like, okay, I can give you an idea now, but like nobody at your company is going to give you that idea. You're the ideas person, right? So yeah, but yeah, Leo, I'm on board with that statement. So here's what's catching my eye on this one. I see what you did there, Leo. This tableau seems interesting, though. I get it. I see what you did there. So here's what's interesting about this one, guys. It catches my attention. And I write about this in my book. You're welcome to check out my book, Your First Year in Data Science. You can find it on Amazon. I don't sell any cheap courses or any crap like that. So if you want to support me, my book is the best way to do it. I write about how the further you get into the development of a data science project, the more it converges on being a software project. Because the reality is that most of the work you'll do ends up as a library, as its own standalone library. And then sometimes there's a handoff, sometimes there isn't, but you would hand it off to a traditional DevOps team for implementation, right? Because your algorithm, even though it's machine learning or whatever you want to use, it's still going to act like an API or a library or something else that can be called from some bigger software package, right? So that's where I have found my skills, my background as a developer to help me the most in data science. Because a data science project kind of sort of evolves into a software project, just traditional development. So this is telling me that they are still having trouble with that. Because the first one is moving from proof of concept to production scale, which is basically that convergence that I'm talking about, right? And also kind of speaks to what I tell you guys, right? Professional data science is not done in notebooks. You can't scale a notebook. Scale is super important when you're at a large company, right? Being able to distribute your code, your algorithm across internationally dispersed data centers, very important, right? Can't do that with a notebook. And then the second one that caught my eye was the infrastructure upgrades, right? Usually as data scientists, we don't have to deal with that, right? But can you have a very effective, large neural network unless you've invested in your infrastructure? No, right? It'd be really hard to do that. So this to me tells me that there's still a disconnect between the data science team, your IT, your traditional IT IS team, and then your executives, right? Your leadership. Because all three of those have to come together to make sure you got the money, the server racks, and then the functioning code. All three of those have to come together, right? So that's how I'm interpreting this chart, that there's still challenges around that. Like, why is infrastructure upgrades even an item on here? Like, this should be like 3%, right? How is it that 30% of these companies are still having those challenges? Because this is basically saying, I didn't know the data science team was going to need all those servers, right? I mean, that's basically somebody along the line is saying that, right? So that number is interesting. I'm surprised it's that high. That means there's still opportunities for data scientists to come in and say, hey, I'm going to write you code that's going to be efficient and be able to be deployable across your entire enterprise. And two, I'm going to make sure that we involve the other people, the other stakeholders, particularly on the ITIS side, to help them understand our needs from a technology perspective, right? So keep that in mind as we move, as you move forward in your career, right? Because that's what this is indicating to me. Lots of opportunities for somebody to distinguish themselves and be able to say, yeah, hey, I have some development skills that can help with the production side. or the scaling side, right? Or when they ask you in an interview about the challenges you see around data science, well, this is one of them, right? There's challenges around getting all those people lined up so that they know the scope of your algorithms and what you're going to need from a hardware perspective. Good, you know, I hope I'm not alone in saying that, right? But because infrastructure upgrades at 30%, that's just bad communication, right? I mean, it's a massive opportunity for NVIDIA too, right? It basically means you didn't place your NVIDIA orders in with plenty of time to spare, right? So anyways, that's how I see that chart. Let me know if you see it differently, but that's my interpretation of there. Lots of opportunities there. Like, lots of opportunities for you to also guide your learning, right? Because this is showing the skills that you could bring to a data science team that aren't currently there, right? So think about that, guys. All right, let's see what else is coming up. Where do you run most or plan to run most of your AI projects? 33% are in the cloud, 18% on-premise, and 49% as a hybrid. Okay, so this is poorly written. This should be in cloud exclusively, on-premise exclusively, or a hybrid. Okay. Excuse me. If I had $1 for when somebody asked me what cloud should they learn, I'd be retired. I'd be playing golf every day. My takeaway from this is, again, the emphasis that not every company is on the cloud. So this is saying that there's 18% that are 25% now. It's going to drop, they say, right? But look how many are still relying on some sort of on-premise solution. More than 50% of the companies out there are still using some sort of on-premise solution. Right? So don't feel like you always have to know cloud, right? I think people get too caught up in that. Plenty of companies that still just use on-premise. So that's what's jumping out at me here. What do you guys think? Anybody want to comment on those? I think that might be the last table. Okay, there's one more. How do companies develop AI solutions today? Service. Data science modeling tools. Oh, that's interesting. Automated machine learning. That's not a surprise. Enterprise software, or you outsource it. Okay, so this is their 2023 results. Their top result is that they do it as a co-development with partners. Okay, so that basically means they're working with an outside consulting company, right? Open source tools, 28%. Build it ourselves, 27%. But this is probably the same, right? Open source tools and build it ourselves, that's the same answer. Right? I mean, it'd be hard to do something yourself without open source tools, right? I mean, if you were a data science team and I said, hey, you can build this, but you can't use pandas, like what are you gonna do? Build your own version of pandas? You're gonna use the open source of pandas, right? So yeah, so that's a poor question, and NVIDIA asked a poor question here, because that's one and the same. AI as a service has dropped. Data science modeling tools has dropped significantly. Automated machine learning tools, that's dropped. That I'm not surprised. You guys remember there was that time where, like, you know, auto ML is the future, right? Headless ML, all that other stuff, right? Does anybody use like Data Robot anymore? Is Data Robot still a thing? Right? So I'm not surprised to see that drop. Enterprise software, well, what do you mean by that? I mean, that can be a lot of things. Outsource it, 12%. Yeah, but you're kind of outsourcing it with the co-development too. So, yeah. Leo says, haha, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm assuming you mean that for Data Robot. Does anybody use Data Robot anymore? You guys remember when Data Robot was a thing? Right? But yeah, that's not, I don't think any of this is surprising except for the poor wording here, right? Open source tools and build it ourselves. That's the same answer. That's just a poor survey by NVIDIA. And that's it. Okay. All right. That's an interesting result. What did we learn today? One, NVIDIA needs to learn Tableau. These tables are awful. My God. How is this a professional company? And two, let's be optimistic, right? Let's be optimistic. There's a couple of things in here where I think we could point to and say, hey, there's optimism for being a data scientist. At least in the telecom industry, but I think this would carry over to any number of industries, right? What do you guys think? Any other closing thoughts there? I mean, I hope that you guys are seeing it the same way. If not, that's okay. Feel free to disagree with me. But reasons for us to be optimistic. Reasons for NVIDIA to start learning Tableau or Power BIers. Any other closing thoughts before we close out here, guys? But thanks for going through that with me. That was an interesting study. Interesting numbers to look at. And I'm glad that some of you could relate to my statements about the telecom industry. Otherwise, I would just sound like some idiot over here, talking about old stories or something. But yeah, definitely an interesting industry. All right, last call for any final thoughts, guys. Anybody else? All right, guys. Thank you so much for everything. Really appreciate you guys sticking with me. Wow, we had that was a pretty long daily stream. That's crazy. But as always, lots of craziness happening in the world. So please, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves and take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.